Members, my amendment stems from bipartisan legislation. I bring forward to prohibit recreational wolf hunting and trapping in the state of Minnesota. The bill was before the Senate Environment Committee last April and was also debated in the Conference Committee this last session, and now it's time to bring this question before our body to vote. Wolves, like us, are highly intelligent, social, and pack-oriented animals. The random killing of one individual wolf can indirectly cause the deaths of other pack members through social chaos, loss of dependent offspring, and pack dissolution. Larger packs are more equipped to recover from the consequences of individual death, but packs in Minnesota include only 3.9 wolves on average and are less capable of recovering from the death of a family member. The last time wolves were trophy hunted and trapped in Minnesota, 923 wolves were killed in just 3 seasons, all for fun, for display, for their pelts, or for bragging rights. Given what we know now about pack dissolution and illegal killing, it is reasonable to assume even more wolves died. Wolf hunting is not just justified by science or ethics or Minnesota values. Wolves self-regulate their own populations, and killing them will not, and I want to repeat, will not reduce already rare conflicts with livestock or grow deer herds. Indeed, in the decades since the last open season in Minnesota, wolf population estimates have remained stable. So in short, conserving native wolves is crucial to protecting Minnesota's ecosystem and culture. Non-lethal conflict deterrence like physical barriers, smells, noises for livestock farms can help and do help prevent incidences. Deer or moose populations will not be negatively impacted by a prohibition on wolf trophy hunting and trapping. And as the national trend, it is suggested that it's global warming and environmental factors, the severe winters, not this last one, but the previous ones, that have had the impact on deer population. And it is really 25 to 35% of our moose die from brainworm, not from other reasons. Wolf hunting is never a legitimate way to manage wolves. It just does not make sense. Hunting quotas are meaningless because there's no controlled wolf killing. Hunting is no way to continue recovering wolves when their federal protections go away. So members, I ask you now to please vote yes on this amendment. Let's remove recreational wolf hunting, trapping, and snaring from Minnesota statute for good. And I ask for a roll call.
Roll call requested, roll call granted. Any other discussion on the A6 amendment? Senator Weissenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Would Senator Kunish stand for a question?
Senator Kunis, will you yield? She will yield. Senator Weissenberg.
Senator Kunish, are you a wolf biologist?
Senator Kunis to the question.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
The question is, are you a wolf biologist? I believe that was the question. Is that correct, Senator Weissenberg? It is. That's the question.
No, Senator, Mr. President, I am not a wolf biologist.
Senator Weissenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am a wolf biologist. So I guess we'll just get into it. I have been studying science my whole life. When I was 4 years old, I was watching the Discovery Channel and I was reading books about science. Going through college was the top of my science class. I got scholarships for understanding science and how our natural world works. So this isn't about killing. This is about wildlife management. So I do understand that some people don't want to do this, and that's fine. We're not forcing anybody to do this. But the wolves in Minnesota, they are an animal, and they are not currently being managed properly. And that's actually more dangerous for the wolves, which is what we need to educate people on and make you understand. But not having a season, it's more harmful for the wolves. We're getting to a point where the population isn't what the DNR says. So there's an imaginary line drawn kind of through the halfway mark of the state, and it goes through Little Falls and kind of goes to the northeast. And the DNR will say there's 2,900 wolves or whatever the number is in the wolf area. Well, that wolf area, that's not a lie. There are that amount of wolves in that area, but when you get south of that line, we're not telling you there's an extra 2,000 or 3,000 wolves down there. So we might say there's 2,900 here, but we're not telling you what's down there. So there's many wolves, and they are an issue with people who have pets, who have children, who have livestock. And actually, so over the last, probably starting in December, I've been to 14 different meetings, and we're filling up auditoriums with 400 to 700 people that are being negatively impacted by the population of wolves in Minnesota. Nobody wants to see the wolves eradicated. I don't want to see the wolves eradicated. They are natural, they need to be here, but as in anything, biologists, scientists understand how to make these populations come back so well that eventually they get above carrying capacity. So when you get above carrying capacity, they start doing things like attacking dogs and eating dogs. They start attacking cattle and eating cattle. They start attacking each other and eating each other. I've got literally every day, because people know I'm listening, people are sending me emails and pictures of wolves eating each other, and that's really bad, because that means they're starving. We've got wolves going through the middle of Ely and Tower and towns in northern Minnesota during the day. People are afraid to go outside. I have a friend, her name's Addie. She lives in Grand Rapids, and she lives in a trailer, and her dog's name is Minnie. And Minnie's afraid to go outside to even go to the bathroom. Now, this is her pet, which I assume everybody regards their pets as part of their family. Now, her dog was chased by wolves and won't even go outside by itself for the last 5 months now. Addie's afraid to go outside on her own. She lives in the woods by herself in a trailer. She's got trail cam pictures of wolves around her trailer like every night. She's afraid to go outside, and we can't do anything about it. We need to be able to live comfortably in our environment, and we are part of the environment. We don't just live in houses and not go anywhere. I've been in the woods and outdoors my entire life. So I started working at Camp Ripley in 2001, and I've studied wolves for 18 years. And all the wolf biologists that I work with agree that we need to properly manage the season. We do not want to see wolves eradicated, but there is an issue when the numbers get too high and they're not properly managed. Besides killing themselves and harming farmers, which we've lost over 200 cattle farmers since the year 2000 because of wolves. We have cattle farmers that have either quit farming or they've left the state. And you might be told that they're reimbursed, but they're not. Maybe 1 in 10 cows that are killed, or horses, which you'll see some pictures in a little bit. Why don't you just hand those out now, as long as we're talking about it? Thank you. So there's actually a guy in my district, his horse was just attacked by a wolf last week, and his horse just died yesterday. He was at that time told that the DNR wasn't going to do anything about it, so now his horse is dead. He's also a cattle farmer. He's lost many cattle to wolves, and it's not just him. This is every person who has cattle in the state of Minnesota has lost cattle to wolves. Now, we don't want to just eradicate the wolves. That's wrong, and we shouldn't do it. If there was only 300 wolves in the state of Minnesota, I would say we can't have a season. We need to bring the numbers back up. But that's not where we are right now. They're not being managed properly, and having a season isn't trophy hunting. Maybe people are doing that, but these are animals that need to be managed, and they're hurting people. I got pictures coming around. There's one picture in there, and I have it labeled Senator Wiesenberg's house. That's my house. That's where my house is. I live a mile west of Little Falls. And I know what wolf tracks look like, and I know what wolf scat looks like, because I worked with wolves for 20 years, and I've probably dissected thousands of piles of wolf scat. So I understand what wolf scat looks like. I know what the tracks looks like. I know what I'm talking about. So that dot is where my house is. Where it says wolf tracks and scat, that's a trail, and my kids have a fort right there. So now I'm afraid to even let my kids go outside on my own property, because I have wolves in my backyard. And it's not just me. That's anybody who lives in northern Minnesota. They have wolves around their house. They have wolves attacking their dogs. Or not attacking, they're killing their dogs. They're dismembering their dogs. And that's where we are right now. So nobody wants to see the wolves disappear. No one wants to just kill them for fun. It is an issue, and we need to manage these animals properly. So there's a picture in here. It's labeled blood. So this is a wolf chased a deer into this person's yard. And this deer went up by this person's house. And as the wolves were killing this deer, the blood splattered on the side of this person's house. Now that blood is right next to a doorway. What happens if a little kid steps outside when there's a wolf there killing this deer? Is this wolf going to kill this child? This is an issue, and it is a problem. We can't wait for someone to die before we start managing wolves. This isn't, it's not, like I said the other day in committee, this isn't an agenda. This is science. We have to do what the science says. The science says there is an issue and we need to take care of it. We have blood on the side of people's houses, and the wolves have lost their fear of humans. There's a picture in there. It's kind of a grainy one. It says logging camp. This was this year in February. There was a wolf that ran through a logging camp, and the guy took a video of this. Now, probably in the 1990s, I remember deer hunting. I wasn't able to deer hunt yet, or maybe I was. My dad was walking through the woods, and he was sitting in his deer stand, and the wolf came across his tracks and smelt his tracks and took off running because they were so fearful of people. Now we've got wolves running through a deer camp, or a logging camp. This guy took a video of this. This wolf killed this deer 10 feet away from this guy while he was videotaping it. No fear of humans at all. He's standing there. The wolf's killing a deer right in front of him. He videotaped it, and it started eating the deer. Now, they've lost their fear of humans. It's only a matter of time before someone's going to get killed, and we can't allow that. We need to realize that we do live, and we have the right to live, and we have the right to protect ourselves and our property. I've got some pictures of, these are recent calves, goats. That horse is the one that just died yesterday in my district, the same guy that's losing cattle. Cattle farmers, when they go to get reimbursed, the DNR does everything basically it can to not reimburse cattle farmers, and it's an issue. Like I said, maybe 1 in 10 people are getting reimbursed for their cattle being killed. I talked to a lady in Longville, and her husband lost at least 10 calves last year, but they only got reimbursed $400 for one. The DNR will wait till the calves or the cows are at their lowest point, and that's when they'll pay people. So in June, they're going to give you $400 for your calf, when right now in December and January, they're selling for $2,000 to $3,000. That's what they should be getting. And when your cow is dying, you might have a pregnant female cow with lineage that's worth who knows how much money to that farmer. Now, when that cow dies, these calves will not be born into the future. So rather than helping these people, we're hurting these people. The state of California set aside $3 million for wolf depredation. Minnesota, I think, has a couple $100,000. The state of California has 45 timber wolves in the whole state, and the state of California decided we're going to set $3 million aside to help out farmers. So if the state of California did that, we should be setting aside $400 million to help out farmers. This is an issue, and it's not going away. There's a dog here. It's a happy dog. That's Minnie. That's the dog that's afraid to go outside. She's an Alaskan Malamute. And she's so afraid of the wolves, she won't go outside to pee by herself, even in the daytime. She won't leave her house. And this is just one instance I'm talking about. This is not just her. It's many pet owners are having this issue. Here's one, Romeo. Romeo was killed by wolves. And what is a dog worth? To the state, maybe it's $200. To the person who loses a pet, that dog is everything. That's their family member. These are family members. So we're saying, let's ignore it. Let's not have a wolf season. We need to do this because people are being hurt. That's the reality. And as a matter of fact, Mr. President, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is dropping suits right now at the federal level. I've been working with people at the federal level to have a wolf season in Minnesota. They're dropping suits because they know it's an issue and they want the states to take care of the issue on their own, because this is an increasing problem and they know it, and we have to stop putting philosophy over science. I got involved in science because I like to share, educate people, and we're just ignoring the science, we're ignoring the education. And we say we don't care because it hurts my feelings. I get it. You don't have to hunt wolves, but they do have to be managed because people are getting hurt. There's really disgusting pictures in there about dogs. That's happening every day. I get pictures like this. People are losing their dogs every day in northern Minnesota. And if they live, they got hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars of vet bills that they can't afford to pay for. That one, there's a wolf that's eating a deer on a road. That was just taken up by Duluth this weekend. This person drove up to this wolf eating a deer. This wolf has no fear of people. This wolf should be running away, and should be afraid. There's a point in time where wolves are going to start attacking people and people are going to start getting killed. So we can't ignore this, and I don't want that to happen. That's why it's imperative that this amendment does not pass. We have to start managing wolves. And then we got one, there's a wolf running away from an elk. So there's so much, the wolves are, I guess, fat with joy in Yellowstone. They'll kill elk cows and they'll take the calves away and eat the calves, and they're not even eating the cow. So now they're eating the tender parts and they're not even eating the rest. I'll go to the study. There's 3 pieces of paper. This is put out by the Minnesota DNR when they were sharing factual information. So it says in the winter of 88 to 89, I'll go to the last page first. The Eastern Timber Wolf Recovery Plan was established to have between 1,200 and 1,400 wolves in the state of Minnesota by the year 2000. And that goal was met in the late 1980s in the state of Minnesota. So we met the federal recovery plan in the late 1980s. By 1997, 98, we already doubled that. We were at 2,500 wolves in the state. The DNR said that once we get to 2,000 wolves, there's going to be increased human, what does it say right here? There's going to be an increase in human-wolf interactions, and their negative interactions. So that was at the population of 2,000 wolves. We're at 5,000 to 6,000 wolves right now, and we're at an extra million people. So if we're at 4.5 million people in the year 2000, and 2,000 wolves was too many. Now we're at 5.5 million or whatever it is. There's a million more people. That means we can't even have 2,000 wolves in the state before there's going to be an increased impact with people and wolves. We're at a point where we need to manage it. People need to follow the science, and that's where we are. They're doing this in other states. It's already out west. People are having wolf seasons because they have to be managed. People are getting hurt. And that's where we are. We cannot vote for this amendment. Thank you.